Tonight could spark the beginning of change for the Aurora Police Department, change that won't happen overnight. A Denver artist was on the verge of his big break, then COVID-19 broke up his plans.
The big show didn't go off, but in time, now the show is starting to open up.
Today he unveils the longest-running Denver art show that hasn't been seen by the public yet. The Washington Park neighborhood has seen a lot of change in recent years. One homeowner decided to spend a lot of change to create her own kind of community growth. A blackout for many Avs fans made it hard to see their awesome win yesterday. So we had our state-of-the-art graphics guys put together a world-class replay. You don't have to thank us, you just have to watch. Next. It is no secret the Aurora Police Department is in desperate need of reform, and the mayor and city manager believe that change will be sparked with what happens tonight. City Council is expected to vote on a new police chief, a new leader who will take the reins of a department that cannot seem to avoid headlines.
I have a right to stop you because you're being suspicious.
August 24th, 2019, nearly 1 year ago, a violent struggle with Elijah McClain, a man who had committed no crime. A dark day, but one that would begin to shine a light on a department ripe for change. A few months later in December, the public would learn of Aurora police officer Nate Meyer, who was found by his fellow officers passed out drunk at the wheel of his patrol car. Officers on scene treated it as a medical emergency, never investigating whether Meyer was drunk. Though he was suspended and demoted, Meyer was never charged or fired. 3 other officers would face charges and discipline for drunk driving after that. Annette Brooke was suspended after hitting a concrete barrier. Joshua Teeples fired after pleading guilty to hitting a car in Castle Rock and taking off. And Jared Dozier was fired after he hit a tree in Colorado Springs. When nationwide protests in June reinvigorated the calls for justice in Elijah McClain's death, the governor ordered the investigation to be reopened. The city launched its own internal investigation, and the FBI indicated it's looking at a potential civil rights investigation into McClain's death. 1 officer resigned, and 2 others were fired for posing for pictures next to the spot where McClain struggled with officers. An officer involved with that struggle also got the boot for texting a ha-ha in response to those photos. In July, it was revealed another Aurora officer was fired for not helping a woman he had detained for 21 minutes after she had fallen in his patrol car. And just this weekend, Aurora officers made headlines again after they forced a family to the ground, even handcuffing kids after they'd mistakenly identified the family's car as stolen. And all of that happened in less than a year inside the Aurora Police Department. When I asked Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman about those very public problems inside the department back in June, he told me that a change in leadership is the reform this department needs. And maybe that's true. What is also true is that whoever the city council and the city manager choose tonight, they are taking on more than just a basic job description. They're taking on all of that dirty laundry we just talked about. Plus, they have to restore an entire community's trust and repair what certainly appears to be a broken culture. They will have to do it all while the public is paying more attention than ever. It is not going to be easy, but meaningful change rarely is. More than 7,300 tests were processed in the state of Colorado yesterday. That is well below the 7-day moving average of more than 11,800 per day for COVID-19. The positivity rate in the state continues to go down, which is a great sign. The 7-day average is now 3.45%. That's down significantly from last week and is well below that 5% threshold that we want to stay under right now. 209 people are currently hospitalized with COVID-19 in Colorado. Our 7-day average of cases is trending downward, just over 230. That was at 245 a week ago. 34 patients have been discharged or transferred in the last 24 hours. And Colorado added 252 new cases on Sunday. Our 7-day moving average continues to go down. It's a good trend. It's at just over 486 right now. It was up over 571 a week ago. The global pandemic put everything on hold for most people. One local artist had his first major art show canceled right before the grand opening. And now things are starting to slowly open back up, including that exhibit. Our Byron Reed has his story.
For local artist Dwayne Glapian,
started off very young like most kids.
the art of being resilient comes with a mixed palette.
Being able to draw upon your faith, inner strength, and those of the community to persevere.
I've got paper textures, brush textures.
In March, Glapian was finishing up a series of uncommissioned portraits for his exhibit called Faces in the Crowd, a digital art project he'd been working on for the past 3 years to highlight 100 women and men who've made a positive impact on himself and the community.
I hope they get to see the beauty and the power of our community.
It was his way of giving back after going through some tough times.
The homeless are often treated like they're trespassing. I wasn't out in a tent, but when you have no place to go, you have a new understanding.
But 3 days before it could open, Glapian's show was canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
It was heartbreaking. We had a huge expected turnout. It was a dream come true.
But now, his show is open to the public by appointment at the Red Lion Art Gallery in downtown Denver.
It's been a long time getting here, years and years in getting here. So with or without the pandemic, I'm enjoying this show.
Glapian says it's a show that was inspired by his own experiences.
Everybody in our community that has inspired me, moved me.
As a way of saying thanks to those who helped this artist get back on his feet.
The whole journey has been a blessing. So I don't take this moment for granted.
For next,
I have the longest running show that hasn't really been seen by the public. So I'm hoping that the public will come out.
I'm Byron Reed.
Faces in the Crowd will be on display until at least the end of September, and the artist says that he will be at that gallery every day it's open. For weeks and months, we have been wondering how state health orders are being enforced at local businesses. And over the weekend, the Denver Department of Public Health showed that they are not kidding around with this stuff. Enforcement teams issued 20 tickets at Denver businesses from Friday to Sunday. They were for health order violations like people not wearing face coverings, no social distancing, exceeding crowd capacities, and then serving alcohol after 10 p.m. 5 businesses were even closed for repeat violations or because their violations were severe. They are the Welcome Inn in Rhino, Your Mom's House in Capitol Hill. That's a business, by the way, Your Mom's House. Zanzibar in Lodo, PT's Show Club, and the Centerfold Show Club. DDPHE tells us for those businesses or to reopen, they will have to submit a plan for how they will operate in compliance with current health orders. Then the health department will review the plan and decide whether or not they can open back up. You all deserve a thank you. You've continued to carry the torch when it comes to our Word of Thanks weekly micro-giving campaigns. Last week, you helped raise more than $15,000 for A Little Help. That group connects volunteers with older Coloradans who need assistance with everything from rides, groceries, home repairs, whatever they need. That money will help cover the cost of background checking all the volunteers, training them, and getting them dispatched to help our older neighbors. If you'd still like to help out, you still can. You just text THANKS, that's the word thanks, to 303-871-1841, and we will send you a link to donate. You can also find it on our social media pages. A lot of you didn't get to see one of the best moments in Colorado sports yesterday because of a cable dispute. So we have tasked our fancy graphics department with recreating a magical Avs win for you.
I needed to break the cycle of development is what I did. So I just bought the lot. Just bought it.
One woman dropped a lot of money on a lot of space. A different kind of community development is going down in Wash Park. Next. Seems like new homes pop up all the time in Denver, but one community in Wash Park is developing something different. There's no construction noise, just the sound of hands digging in the dirt. 9 News reporter Noel Brennan and photojournalist Ann Herbst take us to Vine Street.
Growth can mean all sorts of things. It can be as simple as a plant spreading its roots.
Okay, here's what we're doing.
Or as complicated as a neighborhood changing.
Everyone's just being crammed into this small area.
Lisa Negri prefers to be tangled up in the growth at her home on Vine Street.
Have fun, be creative, put them anywhere.
In the spring, Lisa convinced her neighbors in Wash Park
My nickname?
to play in the dirt.
People do call me Mary Poppins from Hell. with kind of a spoonful of sugar approach. I have an ability to get people to do all kinds of things.
Because she gets things done, but on her own terms. Yeah.
Kevin Williams with Denver Botanic Gardens agreed to Lisa's terms
Just psyched about it.
to create something new in the lot for sale next door to her home.
I needed to break the cycle of development, is what I did. So I just bought the lot. Just bought it.
$780,000 for 6,200 square feet.
I wouldn't have done this if I wasn't slightly insane.
Lots of money and space, but not for a house.
She said she wanted a garden, not a 3-story house to be developed. She bought the land, the stone, the plants, and everything.
And when the first plants hit the ground, I was like, oh my God, it's actually going to happen.
Yay, Lisa, we love you.
Neighbors welcomed the sight of growth on the ground instead of above their heads.
What is up with these black and white houses? I'm annoyed. I bet you that one's going to be all white with black trim.
They dug their hole just right before I dug mine.
Everybody's just like so impressed. Well, impressed with the fact that you have the ability to do this.
There's a major investment on my part in this property, but I also was very fortunate to be able to make a lot of money in my lifetime.
She made her money nurturing people, running an environmental engineering company.
My favorite thing about being a CEO was the people that I influenced every day.
Tending to others
Thank you, guys.
didn't come naturally in a home where words like love were never spoken.
The love was more of a, punching, but because I came from a very abusive and horrible background, so I really did hate people. I was very withdrawn, didn't do anything, and I don't know, I just had this epiphany and realized that people are okay. Hey, John!
Social distance
Oh, God, I'm dying.
is no longer her thing.
Dying. I might hug your microphone or something. What is that thing?
It may have seemed strange before,
They're the pink.
but Lisa can't imagine life or her garden without people in it.
But always in my heart, I knew that I wanted the community to have access to this and to see this and just see it all. Oh, please have cookies. Please enjoy, people.
The seeds of an idea planted in spring are blooming by summer.
I don't know, it feels more like a garden. I think when you guys were here last time, it was like a moonscape.
Mother Nature can't take all the credit.
How old are you?
10.
10. So she's my logo designer.
A budding artist's work is almost ready to be unveiled.
Actually, trees is also another thing I used to do a lot of.
Even the bees feel welcome, thanks to Lisa's high school neighbor.
So I was inspired to paint the tarot cards on the Bee Hotel. And I think it turned out really well. I really like the design, and I think it's really awesome.
And the fact that they wanted to do it for me and for this,
Friends who feel more like family.
it's just overwhelming.
They helped Lisa create and give back the gift of summer home garden.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in this community, here we go. Here is the sign. Yay! So thank you.
As the neighborhood evolves and new homes sprout,
This is your garden.
the garden
It's every one of you guys' garden.
and its gardener will continue to grow.
I am beginning to accept I did a pretty cool thing.
Noel Brennan, 9 News.
Summer Home Gardens opens to the public tomorrow at 651 South Vine Street. Lisa says she has a waiting list of volunteers who want to help tend to the more than 3,000 plants. Did you happen to miss last night's Avalanche game because of that blackout? Well, you missed a moment that will live on in Avalanche hockey history. Stick with us for a proper reenactment next. It was a happy weekend in the Stager household because hockey is back. Not that many of you saw that because that whole altitude thing that's going on. It's really a shame that the games are getting blacked out when we could all use a little distraction. So here at Next, we are committed to make sure you don't miss the important stuff. So we're doing our best to recreate the important moments during a segment called Stick Figure Sports. Boy, I should get the name right because, it's all we have. Seconds remaining in a tie game against the St. Louis Blues, a game that will help decide seeding for the playoffs. The Avalanche go on the power play. With no one in the crowd there to yell, "Shoot!" at the top of their lungs, the players seem lost without direction. Until Gabriel Landeskog fires one in the final second. It hits the post, but Nazem Kadri is there to tap it in. The horn sounds as the puck flies. Did it make it in time? The refs make a long-distance phone call to Toronto and make us wait patiently. It's good. It's good. Avs win. See, you didn't miss a thing.
It was a warm August day in Denver. Even with mostly cloudy skies, temperatures close to 90 today. Triple-digit highs out across the western slope, and we'll see these numbers go up tomorrow. But the clouds are bringing rain showers that might just cool us off tonight, although a couple of these storms have reached severe limits with the potential for some small hail, damaging wind, and lightning. They'll be moving out tonight. There's one cell that may come into Sterling and Fort Morgan during the overnight hours that may linger into the wee hours of the morning. But for Denver, best chance for rains in the next half hour or so. And so for tonight, chance for rain and thunder, then clearing, a low 59. Tomorrow with sunshine, our high at 91. 30 to 40% chance of rain from storms both Tuesday and Wednesday. We start to dry out on Thursday, and then a string of 90-degree days as we move through the first full week of August. Can you believe it?
Can't believe it. So why did the deer cross the road? Because that's where the sign was. Even more bad jokes, and your feedback is next. It's a sign that those wildlife crossing markers aren't just there to get you to slow down. So Cliff sent us this great photo of a deer checking out its portrait on that deer crossing sign. It's probably annoyed that they got the antlers all wrong, This was on Maroon Creek Road, right in front of the Prince of Peace Chapel in Aspen. If you ever see a sign that makes you laugh out loud, you know how to get in touch with us. Finish with your feedback now. Christine wrote in and said, "Steve, you got the number wrong for the word of thanks," and indeed I did. So we should put it up on the screen again so some random person at 9 News doesn't get a bunch of text messages that say thanks, even though I'm sure that they would appreciate it. It's 303-871-1491. You just text the word thanks. We'll send you a link and we'll allow you to donate to that charity. Melissa says, "Welcome back. I hope it's good to be back. I did just have like 2.5 weeks off, which was wonderful, but it's kind of fun to be back here with all of you." And as Mike said, as much as Kyle seems to be gone, we ought to change the name of the show. I've lobbied to not give him vacation. They're not listening to my emails for some reason. Maybe they will next time.